Welcome to Lit Konvos. I'm your host, Millie.
And I'm your host, T.
Today, we're going to be doing part 2 of Let's Be Friends. We are joined here by
Greg.
Greg is going to be giving us the male perspective of situationships. What is friendship from a male perspective? Should spouses be friends? And so on.
I think that's awesome. Last time it was just us females talking. So they only got things from a female point of view.
Right,
So
exactly.
now we need to have things from a male's point of view, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Greg is a husband, a father. How long have you been married, Greg?
24 years.
24 years. So we definitely can use his perspective
Mhm.
on this topic. We discussed in our last episode what is friendship and what does a true friendship consist of.
For females, we talked about friendships kind of being like a tree.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Yep.
tree consists of roots,
Mm-hmm.
which are your sisters,
Yep.
branches,
Yes.
which are kind of like your associates.
Mm-hmm.
And we also said the leaves, which we kind of said they were kind of like the situationships that just float on by, or people that just come in your life for a small season and just go away.
So let's jump right into it. From a male's perspective, what do you think, Greg, a true friendship consists of? We spoke about girlfriends, females being friends, but I'm sure you have male friends. What does that look like? What does brohood look like?
Okay. That brohood it's a different animal.
Mm-hmm.
As a friend, you don't always have to see each other, hang out with each other, especially as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always there. Like if you need something, you should be. If he's your friend, we say dog. If
Okay.
that's my dog.
Okay.
Then I should be able to hit you up.
Right.
We might just get together to talk stuff.
Okay.
We might get together to look at a game. If that's your dog,
Right.
it doesn't matter.
Right.
If y'all need to get together to talk about your wives, sometimes you might get together to work on a car. I think it's a little different than with the ladies.
Yeah, because we tend to hang out with each other a lot and call each other a lot. Really
That's
interesting.
interesting.
That's really interesting.
Then you feel like it's important for brotherhood.
Very important, because what happens is when you get married, you got kids.
Yep.
You spend a lot of time with your family.
Okay.
You have to have that ability to spend time with your boys, because that's your outlet.
Okay.
And
that makes sense.
And guys are different. We're not as emotional as we probably should be.
Okay.
But when you get a chance to be with your boys, you get a chance to let stuff out. You get a chance to talk about this and talk about that. And sometimes you get to talk about stuff that you can't even talk about. You don't want to say to your wife. It might be some stuff. There might be something going on at work. You might be pissed off about something. You just may not want to do that with your wife. But when you're dealing with your wife should be your friend.
Yeah.
And that's another topic we're going to dive into.
We're going to hold off on that for a moment. We're
Absolutely.
go into that a little bit later, but
absolutely.
Keep that in mind.
The last episode, we did speak about having several best friends and things that you may not be able to talk about with your spouse, that you may feel more comfortable talking about with your brothers. And that then does not overburden your spouse.
It does not.
And that key word is outlet.
Right.
You gotta have an outlet.
Because like you said, women, we are more emotional. We can cry in front of our husbands. Right. It may be different for men to cry in front of their wives.
Right.
It might be something that's pretty hard to do. So let's get into some of the other juicy parts. Can males and females be platonic friends?
What do you think about that, Greg?
Well,
what do you think about that?
I think they can. The reason why I say they can, back when me and my wife were dating, and then when we first got married, you see, I paid attention to somebody that she worked with, that they were pretty close.
Okay.
Guy, and the one thing about me is I'm not that kind of individual. I'm not jealous like that. I took a look.
Okay.
And paid attention to the situation. But friends, and if you can't trust your wife, then that probably shouldn't be your wife.
I love that.
If you can't trust them. And so I never ever thought anything crazy about that situation.
Okay.
With that, as far as me having female friends, people I went to school with, people from the neighborhood we're cool, we're still
Okay.
friends, but it's strictly platonic.
I love that. More women say, "Oh yeah, you can have a friend of the opposite sex,"
Right.
and males tend to be the ones to say, "No, you can't do that." They're
Yes,
more
yes.
apprehensive to say,
That's ulterior.
"Okay,
That's somebody with
yeah."
ulterior motives.
Mm-hmm. And
That's
that's what we spoke about in the
that's
last
somebody.
episode.
That's
Right.
somebody who may have had some situations that happened before,
Yeah.
and that
Yes.
might be something that they're dealing with. But for the most part, if there's somebody who's straight up trying to just have a platonic friend, somebody that you know, regardless of whatever happens, you don't put yourself in those different situations.
Right.
You make sure that it's a situation where it's a platonic situation. You can't put yourself in a bad situation.
Right. I agree with that because me myself, I've had male friends that I haven't crossed the line with, but our intention was to purely be friends.
You have
And
to
I
have
knew they
that.
were my friend when I was able to introduce them to my spouse.
I've seen it where somebody had something else in their mind, and you're like, ooh,
Right.
and you're like, ooh,
Right.
that's
Right.
crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. Because then what are you? You're not friends once it crossed the line. You are in a situationship.
Or friends with benefit.
Exactly.
That kind of takes me down the rabbit hole a little bit.
Okay. What rabbit hole we going down?
The platonic friends. What if there have been a relationship and your friend of the opposite sex, and there may have been something that they might have been girlfriend and boyfriend first before, and now they're just friends? What do you do with that? Is that a cutoff? Like, no, I don't see y'all. This can't keep going, or is it something where you just?
Well, if you've had that situation where you were something other before, as long as you understand you got to make sure that everybody understands the rules. Now, me being married is different than somebody being single, or if you just got a girlfriend boyfriend type thing. Girlfriend boyfriend things, those things can change. But as far as being married, you don't want to change your marriage.
Yeah.
And so in the situationship or the friends with benefit thing, it only applies to the situation of somebody who's not married. That's how I see it.
Okay.
Now, if that person, say for instance in high school, if they dug each other a little bit in high school, they had a little friends with benefits thing, or college, or when they first got out on their own, there's always a situation where it could go back to that as long as they left in a positive kind of way.
Right.
And they had that attraction. Some people just have an attraction. If that's the case, then it's a possibility. But other than that, then no, you need to leave that alone.
I love that answer. I love this male perspective of let's be friends. It's because
Yeah,
friendship is not one sided.
It's not one sided
at all.
And like I said, I just don't see anything wrong with the friends thing. It's the issue. The issue comes up when one of the people in the situation have something else in mind.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're hiding that.
Right.
And that's where your friends come in.
Yeah.
Because if your friend sees that, hey, bro,
right.
You need to watch that. That's when you have good friends that look out for you.
Like at the beginning, if you notice you're forming a friend, like you know how in the beginning you meet the opposite sex and you're trying to figure out what you want to be. Do you want to date? Do you want to be friends? Do you want to be friends with benefits? It's important to set the intention from the beginning.
I think you need to. Okay. Even if it's a situation where it may not be anything as far as friends with benefits, some kind of way it needs to be said. Okay. We need to let them know that way we don't get anything mixed up. Right. Nobody really gets their feelings hurt. But do you think that's easier said than done? Because it is easier said than done. I've been approached in the past by men and knowing they don't want friendship, but that's how they come off as wanting to be friends. Oh, you looking for a friend, and then it leads to something else.
Yeah.
And vice versa, not just men now.
No, it's not just men.
A boundary needs to be set where we're just friends.
Sometimes it's harder. It's harder to do that because you're not trying to hurt anybody. A lot of times you're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. Right. Or make people feel a certain way. But sometimes you just gotta say it.
Yeah. I was about to say that when you're in a relationship with somebody, especially if you're married, I'm sorry, I don't care about your feelings. In that situation,
I don't
care about your feelings.
If you're married,
yeah,
it's totally different.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump into that for a second. Then, if you're married, can you be friends with the opposite sex if it's just platonic?
You can, but you have to abide by a stricter set of rules.
Okay.
I don't have any qualms with my wife about anybody that she knows or sees because I have that trust in her. But I want her to be comfortable too.
Right.
Yeah, I like that point of view, but that also goes back to the individual people in different relationships. You have some people that say, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. And you just have some people that are like, no, that can't happen.
Right.
Oh, I've seen that.
Right.
I've seen it where you were cool at first, but when they got married or when they got even a boyfriend,
yeah,
you know, you could speak to them, but you'd be like, oh, man, her boyfriend not joking.
That's true. That's true because there's a lot of childhood male friends that I grew up with that I had to cut off when I got into a serious relationship because I knew there were other motives they had as we got older.
And even without the motives, I've seen it
right.
where the person's boyfriend or husband was like,
just like no.
Yeah, they were like, you know, you speak to them and then you just, that's it.
Is it important to know your wife's friends and for your wife to know your friends?
I like for my wife to know my friends.
Okay, and why is that?
I do because if we're somewhere, if somebody's speaking to me, I want her to know who that person is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoever it is, if it's a guy or a girl, I want her to know that I know them, that that's my friend.
Right.
She might know my dog that I'm close with now, but she may not know my dog from back in the day from the neighborhood or different places. As soon as I see them, I'm going to let her know.
Yeah.
If this girl from my neighborhood was super cool, I'm going to let her know that we were cool. It's okay if I know her friends. When I see or meet her friends, I meet her friends to, you know, just to meet them because so they'll know who I am. I just speak. Right. But as far as me knowing them, if anything, I want to know their husband.
Okay. That makes sense.
I want to know their husband.
That does make sense.
I want to know their spouse.
Right.
I want to know the guy. So, you know, later on, if I see him or if he sees me, you know, I don't mind because I'm not anywhere crazy. I don't necessarily want to know her friends. I want to know their spouse.
Okay. And you know, can you go over that again as to why you would like to know your wife's friends' spouses?
Because when you're out somewhere, you know, I like to converse.
Okay.
You know, I want to, you know, I don't want to be in her business.
Right.
In their business, I'm trying to. When we go out places and we go with her friends, her friend, and then I'm gonna make it a point to hang out with the guys. Okay. I'm not trying to be in this.
That makes sense.
That
that
does make sense. And you know, going back to friends with spouses, so Tiana's become, I would say you and Chad have become pretty good friends.
Yeah.
And I love that because if there's ever an emergency as well,
I was gonna say
and I'm out, Tiana could call my fiance and which has happened in the past.
Yeah.
So I feel comfortable with them being friends and knowing each other for that aspect as well.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. We're grown people. We're grown people. We're not kids anymore.
Grown mature people.
We're grown mature people. So when situations happen, you should be able to contact. Hey, I didn't talk. If I try to reach out to one of my dogs, if I can't get in contact with them, I'm gonna reach out to their spouse.
Right. Because
vice versa.
It becomes a family
in a way.
In a way. Now, I want to throw this out there. Do you think it's a red flag if your spouse does not want you to know their friends?
Yeah, that's a little wild.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah, because why?
Yeah, why?
Right. I've been in a situation like that before.
Really?
Where I've dated someone and yeah, I have. And I deaded that quick. I deaded that. I was like, this is done because what happened was I would have an event and none of his friends would show. I never met any of his friends, any of his family, anybody. He would, and so I started thinking, am I a side chick? Because I never met any of your friends. I never met your family, but you were very attentive to me. We went out all the time. We spoke all the time. So it didn't look suspicious because we always had time for each other. But I was never able to meet your friends or your family. That was something that stood out to me. So when I got into my next relationship, that was very important to me, that I get to know your family, that I get to know your friends, because they're also a reflection of you.
Yep.
I didn't know who he was because who do I relate you to? All I have is your perspective.
Yeah, it's like, what are you hiding?
Right. Like, what are you hiding? Are you hiding me?
When we were dating, my best friend and another one of our friends. We used to all hang out.
Yeah, I love that.
Janine used to make wings and stuff,
Okay.
and we looked at the game, and so it was she got a chance to meet and hang out with my best friend. And so it was a
I
situation
love
where
that.
there was no, I wasn't hiding anything.
Right.
None of that foolishness. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you hiding?
I started questioning myself. Like, why am I being hidden?
From their friends? Something ain't right.
This had to be in my 20s or something. I was in my 20s, I think, with this situation.
And he was probably still playing around.
Yeah, because we were in our 20s. So maybe,
around.
now that I think about it, I'm like, we were young. Like,
Yeah, but to hide the person from all your friends?
I didn't meet anybody.
around.
I'm telling you, nobody. Anytime we had an event, it was just him alone by himself.
Whoever you were. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that you made my friend a side piece.
Wow, that's really wild.
So wait a minute, because there have been talks about this online. Do you introduce your situationships or your friends with benefits to your family and friends?
I'm so glad you brought that up. Greg, what do you think?
Now, if I just so happen to need to see my mom back in the day, she might see them.
Okay.
But the interaction, it wasn't as much.
It wasn't as much. Okay.
Now, if it's a situation where we're trying to hang, all day, or I intentionally meant to be there, then I would give my mom a heads up. I would say, I like this one.
I got
Y'all
that.
hear that, lady?
I dig this one.
So even if he introduces you, it may not mean what you think or want it to mean. It might just be in passing. Okay.
Since we do have a male perspective here, I would like to know, how soon is soon before you introduce your girlfriend, your fiance? Well, it should be girlfriend first, right? To your family, to your friends. Is there such a question as too soon, or it doesn't matter?
It depends on the person.
Okay.
When I say that, like with my wife, there was something about her that was totally different. Something was different about her overall, period. So the things that I thought in my mind were different. I was like, man, there's something about her.
Yeah.
And so with that, I moved different in that.
Okay.
So she got a chance to meet my boys, meet my mom.
And how soon was that, though?
It was
after dating.
A few months.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
a few months. It wasn't long. Even though I tried to fight it.
Yeah, you tried. Why did you try to fight it?
She was so sweet.
And she is.
She is so
didn't I say that to you? To y'all?
Her spirit and everything was just
really
different from other girls that I dated. Man.
So did you feel more comfortable then introducing her to your family and friends?
Oh, I did, because she was.
Is that one of the reasons why?
Was smart, pretty smart, had her stuff together.
I really do love that answer.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I love this convo. Friendship is important between males and females, between males and males, females and females.
So that brings me to our next question.
Yes.
Should your significant other be your absolute best friend?
Love it.
When you're dealing with 24 years, she needs to be your best friend. Now, when I say best friend, she's my best friend. My dog is my best friend. It's a different kind of thing. Me and her, some people don't understand, marriage is not an easy thing. You got to deal with people's past, all kind of things they've gone through, struggles. Like I said, you were talking about crying in front of them. I felt so uncomfortable doing that until I did it. When my pops passed, I cried in front of her. Okay. I feel comfortable doing it now. Right. But I didn't always feel like that.
Well, what made you feel comfortable doing it?
I started to realize she always had my back.
Okay.
Period.
Which is what friends are supposed to do, have your back.
That's my friend. She has my back to the end. Now my dog has my back.
Right.
But he's married.
Right.
So I'm sure he has his wife's back.
Right.
It's a different kind of thing.
Okay. So then should you have several best friends then? Because you said your dog, that's your best friend. Your wife is a different kind of best friend.
That's my different. At some point, I got to the point where my wife knows deep down dark secrets.
Okay.
And so at some point, you got to feel that that ability to talk to her
Okay.
and do that.
I
and
love
vice
that.
versa.
And I like that because that
Absolutely.
brings me kind of to like the biblical sense of things.
Mhm.
We spoke about this, and I said that for me, I believe that in a marriage, when you get married, two people become one. In a marriage, people say you shouldn't tell this person certain things that you're feeling.
So who else are you going to tell?
Exactly. That's how I feel. If I cannot tell you the stuff that bothers me, if I can't let my real raw emotions out to my other half,
right.
Who else can
I do that to?
This is true.
It's
very true.
And I'm gonna be very honest about that. I would rather, to a certain extent, I would rather tell him stuff that I may not ever be able to tell anybody else on the face of the earth. Certain things, so that's just how I feel, because like I said, I feel like that person, when you become married, that person should be a part of you. Okay, so here's our next question. Why do you think friendships can sometimes lead to relationships, and why do you think this happens?
There could have been something that was there previous. I've seen those things happen where they blossomed into a relationship, like a real relationship. I've seen it happen or try to happen, and it didn't lead to anything good. All it did was break up friendships.
Yeah.
So, and should it happen? There's nothing wrong with trying to find somebody for you. I'm not against it. I hate the fact that on some of those situations they're not friends anymore. But most of the time, that person is exactly who you thought they were. You may have just been interested in one aspect, or you may have been curious about the person.
Yeah,
that person is exactly who you thought they were back, when y'all was friends.
Do you think that there may have been an attraction in the beginning?
There could have been an attraction from the beginning. I think it was something that was going on, or that they may have hoped would go on, but it didn't. It could have been the person was in another relationship, or something else was going on. And then sometimes in those things, they know what the other person has going on. And so when that ends, then that might be their opportunity or their way to get into that, to try that.
See, you know what? I'm telling you, women, we don't think about. We're like, oh my gosh, he's a nice guy. He wants to be my friend,
and that's what I say. Like that. And listen, I've had that happen where I'm really friends with a guy. I'm like, he's so nice. Then out of nowhere, they're asking us to get serious.
And see, I think that.
It's not out of nowhere.
See,
it's not out of nowhere.
Think like that, and that's probably why males, for the most part, at least from the ones that I've asked, said that males and females cannot be platonic friends. Some people feel like he's always sitting in the cut, waiting to see if he's gonna have a chance.
There are some guys that are like that. Now, some guys recognize boundaries, and they don't cross them. But then there are some guys, there are a bunch of guys that they sit there and wait for that.
Would you say women do it more, or men do it more, or it depends on the person?
It depends on the person, and I think it depends on like where the woman is from, different stuff. But there are some
where the woman
women
is from.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that, buddy?
Because there are some
where the woman is from.
Yeah.
So I'm from the Bronx, New York.
That's a different. That's early 90s. I dated somebody from New York. She was totally different. I never dated anybody like that ever.
So what do you mean by different? A lot of our viewers would like to know, because some of our viewers are in the Bronx.
She's a tad bit aggressive.
Oh.
She wasn't.
What does aggressive mean?
She wasn't playful.
In your mind, what do you mean by aggressive?
Okay, she saw somebody that she liked, and she was like, didn't hide it. Yeah, she didn't hide it.
You know what? I love that we're talking about this, because I'm from the Bronx, from New York, and when I came down here, I noticed the difference in a male's approach in the South than there is in the North. The men in the South approach you, hello, man. Hey, dudes in the North, listen. I know no shade. I'm just saying.
They're different. She was different.
Yes.
When I went to New York later on, they're moving. They're fast paced. The people that are moving.
Yeah, they're moving.
You know, when you get bumped in New York,
It
just might be that nobody was trying to do anything. But here, when somebody bumps you, that's like a challenge. It's a different set.
Yeah.
Little lady bumped me. We were up there, me and Janine bumped me, and I looked back and she was just walking, and I just saw they're moving. They're always moving. That's why sometimes they try to say people down south are slow. They're not saying slow.
Yeah, understandable.
They have somewhere to go.
I grew up, born and raised down south. When I was married, I moved to the East Coast, Northeast Coast for a couple of years. And as soon as I got there, I realized the difference. It was totally so fast paced. I was like, oh my God.
You were like, what just hit me?
Yeah. I was so happy to get back here.
I understand. But you know what? I want to tie that into friendships and dating for a little bit. So do you think then that there's a difference between people getting into relationships in the North and in the South? Do you think in the North it's a little bit more difficult for women to find a friendship with a man or a relationship because it's so fast paced, it's so aggressive, versus the South where it's more family oriented, it's slower? You get an opportunity to get to know each other more.
I think it is, but you gotta think about the culture. Like, we live in the Bible Belt.
Okay, what does Bible Belt mean?
The Bible Belt means you are raised according to the Bible.
You should be.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, you should be.
So what's the Bible Belt? Atlanta?
As far as states?
Like what?
Yeah.
They're talking about like Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, all those little places like that. Even with it being a Bible Belt state, they take the Bible and they try to construe it to be the way that they want it. It doesn't necessarily mean they're strictly going by the Bible.
You're right.
But they use that as that as a platform to say this is a Bible. And a lot of times a Bible Belt state, but it's really.
But where did that come from, though? Like,
because they consider themselves to be passionate about the Bible. You got to remember the slavery and all that different stuff like that. They tried to turn things from the Bible to say this is the reason why they do slavery.
Yes, and
they've always tried to construe that into being that. That's not new.
So you know what, I want to say this then. When I did relocate down here to the South, now that you're mentioning Bible Belt states, I'm seeing now why it's more family oriented down here. Why there's more marriages.
And that's why people move.
Why there's more relationships.
When they retire from New York,
they go
to the Carolinas,
Georgia,
Florida.
Okay.
They go there for the more family.
Okay.
And it's less fast paced. And it's less expensive. And so they figured out
less hustle and bustle.
Now I have a question. Do you think you and Janine's relationship would have been more challenging in the North?
Yes.
I know a lot of women, good women in the North. And I feel like they're deserving of love. They're deserving of relationships that have complications finding a man, keeping a man, having a marriage, versus the ones down here. They've been married. At least they've been married and been able to have that lifestyle and have children.
It's just a different that vibe that you get. And I love New York. Like if I ever hit the lottery, that's a spot where I would love to have a spot because you have there's fun, food. Yeah, like
a lot to do.
It's a lot to do.
Going on.
Still haven't seen everything that we want to see.
Yeah,
and so it's a wonderful place.
But why would you think it would be more challenging for you to have a relationship with your wife than in New York?
Because if we were both from there, or if she was from there and I met her there, I'm just wondering because
or friendship in general.
Friendship.
Yeah, I think friendships are more challenging too to have because everyone's for themselves.
Everyone's for themselves. That's a different place. With my wife being from here, you know, she grew up different. She grew up with her mom and dad being married for so long. Like her mom and dad had been married for like 55 years.
That can make a big difference.
Her grandparents, before her granddad passed, they had been married for like 70-something years.
Oh, wow.
And so everything that she saw,
was raised in a two-parent home.
In a two-parent home, and she was raised to be a wife.
Wow.
When I say that to people, they look, my wife was raised different.
Right. Do you think that made a difference?
It did, because even the way we grew up, my wife, we eat at the table together.
Okay, as a family. Right.
Our pops, he ate in the room by himself,
Okay, away from the family.
away from the family.
Wow.
He had his own little table.
It's been a long time since I've heard a man say that they sat at the table, the kitchen table,
We sit at the
with
kitchen
their
table.
wife and kids eating.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh, we don't do that. We don't do the play thing where, and I'm not saying anything about my pops. That was just, that was just how they did it. And so when I saw the way that my wife's family did, I already knew in my mind that she was going to want that.
Yeah.
There was no doubt in my mind that.
Yeah.
And so we say the grace. We converse.
Yeah.
We talk about stuff.
Yes.
And most of the time before my sisters were born, I would eat at the table by myself. I just knew that was what she would want.
Yeah.
And so I had no issues with that. And so, you have to be, if you're, like I said before, if you're going to be in a marriage, you have to learn to communicate. You have to learn to not win every argument. It's okay to say I'm sorry.
Right.
It's okay to say, yeah, I messed that up.
And that's where the friendship part comes in.
I was about to say, we can round them back to being friends,
right?
And your wife being your best friend.
I still want to make her smile.
I love that.
I really do love that, and it's actually enlightening to hear it coming from a Black man, because there's so many conversations about Black men leaving the family, not being positive and happy, not being excited about their wife. I know several marriages right now that are together for the kids.
Or together for survival.
Or for survival.
A lot of that's going on now.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. And so it's enlightening to have this conversation.
Marriage is not for the faint of heart. You have to humble yourself. Nothing about marriage is easy.
Yeah. And I think even having them as a friend makes it a little easier.
It makes it easier. Yeah. It makes it a lot easier. Once you realize that is your friend. I didn't even realize until she said that about us being friends.
Right.
That we are best friends.
So she said that.
She said it. That's how I realized.
I love that.
That's how I realized that we are friends.
Yeah. I've seen relationships, I've seen marriages that lack friendship, and I'm able to spot it.
You can spot it.
You can spot it that we're together for loyalty. And that's fine. I get that. But if it doesn't have friendship and it just has loyalty, or we're together for the kids, you're going to be very unhappy.
What happens when that person gains weight?
Right.
What
you're going to be very unhappy. Right.
Sick?
Right.
What happens when that hair falls out?
That's it.
When you have somebody that you can go home to, that you can tell about that, get it off your chest, maybe even cry. When you have that outlet, it's so much better.
Yeah. Wow.
It's so much better.
That's that key word again, that outlet.
Yeah. I love that.
A lot of people don't have that even in a marriage, and that's because deep down inside,
that's not good.
Are you really my friend?
Right.
Are you really here for me? Do you really love me? Do you really trust me?
Yeah. We're gonna dive into another juicy question. Can exes seriously and truly be friends for real? And is it different between men and women when it comes to being friends with your ex?
I see there being a difference.
Is it easier then to be friends with your spouse because you have ties, because you have those kids? Or should it just be we're strictly communicating for the kids?
It should be for the kids. That's just my thought. Because sometimes it gets a little fuzzy. You may have a situation where one person has moved on and the other one hadn't. And so if that happens, then it might look different to the other person's person.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like you're not trying to do all of that.
Right.
So
right.
Sometimes you just gotta be about the kids.
Right. Okay.
Be about sometimes it just has to be. Now, if both people are on the same page,
okay,
they both have an understanding of this is what we're doing, and it has to do with the kids. Then it could probably work out. But when you say friends, we talked about friends earlier.
Yes.
I don't think that that's friends. I just think that that's a situation where you got to take care of your kids.
Out of necessity.
Okay.
Yeah. So
associates. I can see them being associates.
Yeah. So you're not friends with your ex. You're an associate with them that happen to get along with each other.
And you guys need to get along to show the kids.
Yep.
Now, what if you don't have kids, but you still want to be friends with your ex?
Well, it all depends.
Ooh.
If that person has a situation where it can work out like that, but if
Mhm.
there's any conflict at all,
Mhm.
where that person is trying to move on,
Mhm.
then you could be hindering them trying to actually move on, with your presence, especially when there's no kids.
Right.
No kids, then it's probably
Then what's
not
the
gonna-
point
What's
in
the
No
point?
time, yeah.
What's
you
the
you
point?
you separated for a reason.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? But if you have the kids, you have that tie, so you have to communicate.
Yep.
You don't have to communicate if you don't have any kids.
Yeah.
Like with me and my ex, we didn't have any kids, so I haven't spoken to him since we hugged at the court and left.
Wow.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No social media friends, none of that. Because what is the point?
Yeah.
We are exes for a reason.
Yeah.
If we
Yeah.
had children together, okay,
Mhm.
the law would be involved. You see them on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Right. So without
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So without going too much into my own situation, I understand that.
Yeah.
With my situation, like I said, I've been divorced, and we have kids together.
Right.
My own kids and kids that are still of a younger age.
Right.
So we, like you said, there's a necessity that we speak to each other.
Right.
So we do.
Okay.
So yeah.
So y'all are good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
You're good. But would you call it a friendship, or would you just say we're good? Because there's a difference between being good and being friends.
I think so.
Oh,
I think.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say we're friends. We don't hang out. Like
Okay.
we're not calling each other on the phone,
Right.
talking. We're not doing any of
Yeah,
that. Now,
yeah,
when we see
yeah.
each other in person, we
Mhm.
talk. We might have a little conversation, and that's about it. We're
And
not,
that's
like I said,
it.
we're
That's
not calling
it.
each other on the
Nothing
phone.
wrong.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
I think what happens is if there are no ties to the relationship or to the people,
Mhm.
then it seems like there's not really even a reason to continue being friends. Because like
Yeah.
you said, you broke up for a certain reason,
Mhm.
right? This episode was very informative. We talked about what a friendship consists of
Yes.
from a male's point of view.
Yes.
We talked about being friends with our exes, being friends with our spouses.
In closing, we just want to say how enlightening this was to have a male perspective on the topic of let's be friends, because in the first episode we were only coming from a female perspective, and it was interesting to know that men do value friendship from their spouse and from their dogs, from their homeboys.
Yeah.
So definitely please like,
Comment,
and subscribe,
and share.
and we will see you in the next one. Thank you so much, Greg, for joining us.
You're welcome.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.